Hey guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Chris. Let's jump right into The Nun. So with The Nun, it's the 5th film in the Conjuring universe. In this one, we get to explore the spooky origins of the nun from The Conjuring 2, also known as Valak. We go all the way back to 1952 in Romania, where a church is being haunted by the nun. It is here where Father Burek and Sister Irene are sent to this church to investigate a mysterious death that occurred in the church. From here, we'll get to learn some of the evil origins of the nun, be spooked out, and continue the lore of the Conjuring universe. And that's all pretty much it without giving any spoilers to you guys. This is a spoiler-free review. I'm just gonna tell you what I liked about the film, what I didn't like, hit you with a rating system just like this one, breaking down the elements of the film and giving you a final ranking. Now I have to say, with the Conjuring and their whole cinematic universe, I am super enjoying this stuff. I am a huge fan of horror films, as you can tell from my little section right here. And I have to say, paranormal and demonic films are my least favorite in the horror subgenre. But with the Conjuring series and James Wan producing it, being a horror icon in my opinion now, I have to say these movies really capture my attention and have me excited to go see these movies. Now when it came to the nun, she scared the crap out of me in the Conjuring 2. I can't remember the last time I was actually frightened to go to bed after watching a horror movie. That doesn't really happen to me anymore, you know, because I'm a cool kid. So when I found out they're going to do a spin-off and explore her origins, I thought, brilliant, let's see what you got. And oh boy. Let me start off with some of the positives of the film. The two main characters, Father Burek and Sister Irene, are actually really well done in this film. I like their characters. I enjoyed what they brought to the table. Starting off with Father Burke, he has this sort of tormented past of a past exorcism he did that still haunts him, and it's brought up in the film, and I thought that was nicely captured. With Sister Irene, she plays almost like a young version of Lorraine Warren, in my opinion, but she's a person who has not yet taken her vows to become a sister. In a sense, she's sort of the oddball, not knowing if she really wants to take a full step forward towards God or maybe back away with it because it comes with some scary stuff. So seeing her trials and tribulations and exploring that, I think, was pretty interesting and fun for the film to bring up. Along with that, the thing I also love about these Conjuring movies is they've tried to find a unique or refreshing way to bring the scare on. It's not just a jump scare, it's not just a flare up of music and scary shots thrown at your face. They try to be creative with it with camera work and giving you the chills without necessarily spooking you right in the face. So there were a few moments of well executed horror in this film that I have to say had me a little bit frightened. But honestly, that's just sort of where things end for me, because this film, in all honesty, is one of the weaker entries in the Conjuring universe, right up there with the first Annabelle. Starting off, this film, the whole purpose of it, in my opinion, is to explore the origins of the nun. And they do a horrible job in the same way they did in the first Annabelle, where they don't really even explore her origins. They do it as a throwaway line or a 2-minute scene. It's also very complex and unnecessary. Part of me doesn't even know if they're trying to base this off some real lore, because I know a lot of these Conjuring movies are based off real actual demonic possessions and actual hauntings, just like the Annabelle doll or the previous haunted houses in the Conjuring movies, but it really feels like they went all out with making up a whole story for the nun that just did not work, in my opinion. Along with that, the film did not do well with pacing out the story. At times you're almost confused as what's going on and how everything relates to it. I mean, why did these two people need to go explore this haunted house? She's not even a nun yet. Along with that, you also have another character who's a farmer named Maurice. He honestly only had one purpose in this movie, and I can't reveal it because it's a spoiler. But other than that, he's sort of the comedic relief of the film, where he hits on the nurse, where he says something funny after something scary has happened, and only a few times does his joke land in the film. Other times, it felt unnecessary, it felt forced. It felt like the movie trying to squeeze in some humor to lighten things up, which I don't think is necessary in these movies. And while I mentioned there were a few moments throughout the film where they were creative with how they executed their horror, the other 70% of the time was something that just came out of every generic horror, demonic, or paranormal film. Nothing really new, nothing really exciting, and sort of predictable when you get to realize the camera movements and the cue of the music. And as someone who comes to these horror films frequently, it's repetitive and overdone. But I think with The Nun, we don't need a sequel or a prequel or something else attached to it. I think it's done, it's said its piece, and the scariest it's been is already in The Conjuring 2, because in this film, she's not very frightening. In fact, the nun from the Freddy Krueger series is more frightening than her in this movie. And that nun was a good guy. Alright, so for The Nun, I'm gonna give action 1.5 stars. There are just moments of chasing and sequences where action is happening on the screen, but not too much. Comedy in the film, I'm gonna give it 1 star. Like I said, it all comes from this one farmer character who's completely useless in this film until the very end. Drama in the film, I'm gonna give it 2 stars just because they really botched the lore. They made it too complex, and halfway through the film, you're not really even understanding what's going on or why these characters are in the place they are. Horror in the film, I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. Like I said, there were moments where it was really nicely done and creative, but the majority of the time, it's repetitive, it's something we've seen. And suspense in the film, I'm gonna give it 1.5 stars. There weren't really moments where I was dying to know what was happening or scared for these characters on screen. Casual fans, I'm gonna give it a C+. Cinephiles, I'm gonna give it a C-. And critically, I'm going to give it an F. For The Nun, I feel it's best if you rent it.
Play the movie. Yeah.
But that's just my opinion on The Nun, guys. Let me know what you thought about the film if you got around to seeing it. Also, thank you to all my new subscribers who are coming in. I hope you appreciate the content I have. Please be sure to follow me on Twitter. My game there is really weak and could use some followers. But as always, guys, I'm Chris. Take care.